Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with unflawed masterpieces, as opposed to the flawed masterpieces we've been talking about recently. You have asked me to name some unflawed masterpieces, and what could be more fun than that? It's not that difficult, quite frankly. Here's a totally unflawed masterpiece, Vaughan Williams' Tallis Fantasia, or Fantasia on a Theme by Tallis. I mean, everybody loves it. It's just gorgeous, fabulous. It's for double string orchestra, or for small and large string orchestras, and string quartet. What makes this piece unflawed? Well, there are a number of factors that contribute to the overall perfection of the finished product. And boy, is it perfect. And Vaughan Williams revised it a couple times, by the way. It didn't just emerge like Athena from the head of Zeus. It took some chiseling and forming to make it the perfect thing that it is now, that's come down to us. And that's one of the things that you usually need when you have an unflawed masterpiece. That is, they're usually the result of a lot of work and thought. They don't just sort of spontaneously appear. Maybe sometimes they do. We'll get to some of those, I suppose. But this is an unflawed masterpiece because, well, let's list the reasons. Number one, it is perfect formally. Now, because it's a fantasia, it doesn't set up any particular expectations as to what its form ought to be. That's an advantage. The composer can do what he wants and then somehow see if what he wanted works and adjust accordingly. You don't have to say, well, it's got to have a development section, it's got to have a recapitulation, it's a fugue, it has to do this. We don't have to see if it's fitting some predetermined set of rules. The actual form of the work is extraordinarily simple. It's just ABA, writ large, taking about 15 minutes. The outer sections are based on the Tallis theme. The middle section is based on an original melody by the composer. But these two sections are wonderfully contrasted. The Tallis theme is grave, noble, somehow perhaps even sad in a way. It has a timeless, absolutely timeless beauty. And you can't really do that much with it because it has this timeless beauty. You don't want to mess with it too much. And Vaughan Williams doesn't. What he does is present it to us, play it a couple of times, and then start with this sort of dialogue, these exchanges in rich chords based on the theme between the separate or offstage string orchestra and the full group. And these interchanges are just wonderfully, wonderfully haunting and beautiful. It's as if we're communicating, with a different world, the voice from beyond. But there's only so long that he can do that because they're just basically going back and forth, alternating. And so once that's done, he starts the B section, the middle section. Now, the middle section is musically very different from the first section, texturally. The texture is contrapuntal. The opening theme is all chords, or melody with chords, homophony, homophonic. You basically just have a melody with chordal accompaniment. Now, those chords are modal and incredibly rich and exquisitely beautiful, but they have their limitations, and Vaughan Williams realizes this, and he knows we need a change of texture, and this is all within the same basic slowish tempo. So the string quartet comes in and announces the new theme, and it's embroidered by contrapuntal lines throughout the quartet. It's a totally different sound, and equally beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but it's more active. It's not just this sort of static or placid exchange of chords back and forth. This is music that's going somewhere. And it does. The way Vaughan Williams builds up the tension by, first of all, letting the string quartet present all of the material, and then gradually the rest of the string orchestra joins in the dialogue until finally it rises to a super intense, impassioned climax. It has all of the emotion, the immediacy of emotion that the first section doesn't have. The first section has a certain pure, chaste quality, but this is human feeling and expression, and it rises to an absolutely glorious, devastating climax that presents the new theme of the string quartet. And as that dies away, the opening theme gradually returns, but it returns in modified form with the string quartet. And this is the marvelous thing, because it's not just a question of having A, B, A, sections that don't relate to each other, like maybe a scherzo and trio or something like that. It's not like that at all. What happens is that the string quartet is involved in the restatement of the original theme, and therefore the two worlds, that homophonic world of chordal melody and the contrapuntal world of the central section, are combined in the final statement of the theme. And so the result changes the character of this theme. It's just as beautiful as it was. It's still majestic and noble and maybe sad and solemn, but there's also this element of activity, the feeling, the expression, the tragedy maybe even of humanity has corrupted that theme. I don't want to use the word corrupted in that sense, because it's not a bad thing. It's just that these two worlds have united and are presented to us in harmonious combination, leading to the final upwelling, the gorgeous upwelling of sonority and that fading final chord. All of this is handled with a sense of timing, because it's really ultimately, perfect musical forms are a function of timing, right? Because music is time moving through space, right? I mean, it's all a function of getting where you need to get without anyone ever feeling that it's taking too long or too little time to get to where it's supposed to be. And so the ending, the actual coda, is just perfect in its timing, in its sonority, in its final fade out, in the impression, the emotion, the feeling that it leaves behind. That, my friends, is an absolutely unflawed masterpiece. I can't imagine where anything could be changed. There isn't any way to fix something that's a problem. It doesn't run into any detours or difficulties. It simply flows with this inexorable organic quality. The thematic material is, of course, of irreproachable quality all the way through, and it's handled with a sureness and a sophistication which are second to none. It's an extraordinary masterpiece, and one that I find to be absolutely perfect, totally unflawed. So there you go, an unflawed masterpiece, and there are quite a few others. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.